Hello and welcome back to On the Workbench. Today we're taking a look at the 2024 Ford Ranger Raptor, and today we'll be installing an oil catch can on the truck today. Why? Because with that direct fuel injection, there's a chance that the PCV system will collect fuel as a byproduct of the air circulation, and we just want to keep our system nice and clean and long-lasting for the life of our engine. So let's go take a look at the kit that was ordered, and then we'll put it on the truck. The parts that we're going to need for this project today is going to be found in this cardboard box here. Let's go ahead and unbox the kit. We've got some packaging material as you would expect. We've got our hoses. A couple things I noticed about this: made in USA, Continental rubber, nice quality materials there. You notice the O-rings and the little clips are already pre-installed. No need to have to put that together. We got our other hose there. And then we've got, this should be the catch can. Interesting that they used USPS Priority Mail packaging to bundle that instead of their own. And now that we got this out of the bag, you can see we've got our catch can right here. In this case here, there's a plug at the bottom. I opted for a magnet at the bottom. There's a few different variations you can get with a quick drain plug as well. If we unscrew this here, we can see we've got the bottom with the magnet, which is held in with that hex key there. We've got our filter media here, the O-ring, and then we also have our mounting hardware up here. It's interesting, there's an extra cable here. We'll have to double check to see what that's for. And our two ports here to form our bypass connection. Looking through the box, we also have a sticker here, Team UPR, in silver and black and silver and blue. We have another large Team UPR sticker, definitely trying to get that marketing. And then we also have a return policy here from UPR. There are no instructions provided in the box, so hence why I'm making this video here today. The tools that you're going to need to do this project are really straightforward and simple. A 3/8 ratchet and a deep well 13mm socket that's 3/8 drive. That's it. Now let's get over the truck and get to work. And now with the hood raised and over by the battery, there is a post right behind the battery. We're going to use our 3/8 deep well socket. That is a size 13mm to loosen that nut there. And that's going to provide our mounting bracket, or where our mounting bracket's going to go onto that stud. Once you get the nut off, you'll have the post, and then we can take our bracket here, and it's just going to lay down flat like that. Make sure you get the, actually it should work either way. One thing here to pay attention to is that when you have to replace your battery, you will have to disconnect this. So just as a little heads up, that extra bit of room will be useful. Then we just simply retighten this back down using that nut that's already provided there. Reposition that bolt back down, tighten it down. The squared off bracket here lines up perfectly with our mounting flange. And then we'll place our catch can right down in that hole here. There should be plenty of room. I'm going to drop the washer right back on top. There's a tethered bolt here. I'll just use that there to tighten this down and get this at least close for now. Once we get the lines installed later, we may want to make a few just fine adjustments on exactly where this is so that the hoses lay correct and flat. And we've got a nice organized system here. There we go. I'm going to make sure that this little tether is away from the battery. No reason to have that any closer than necessary. Maybe even spin it around. Doesn't really matter. Just nice and out of the way. And we'll get final position. Also a good time to double check that your catch can is nice and tight and sealed. Now with the bracket and the can in place, we need to be able to then get access to our two PCV ports to then be able to connect to both the intake and the outflow side of our new catch can. To do that, we're going to come over to the center of the engine. Now this may be just a little bit difficult to see, but there's a U-shaped hose. One ends right there. Follow that around. The other side comes out right here. Underneath that, that's going to allow us access to our PCV system. There's some tabs behind there we're going to need to be able to disconnect. It might take just a little bit of working with your fingers to get it off, but it should be able to come right off just by pressing on the blue tabs and trying to expand them. There we go, that comes right off. And then I'm going to try to do the same on the other side. You just got to find that little access tab there with your finger. Give it a gentle nudge. And then it should just come right off. Or maybe just a little bit of suction there. And after you get those tabs, we're just going to take this hose, take it off, store this for safekeeping somewhere in a little parts bin. And now we have access to two PCV ports here. You can see one's a little bit brown and the other one right here is nice and black. And so we'll have to connect our hoses there respectively. And remember, we got a check valve in one of the hoses, so follow along to make sure you get this correct. Now the next step is going to take the hose that has no metal fitting the middle, which is actually a check valve, and we're going to connect this to the passenger side valve cover. So that's right over here, the brown side, if you will. I'm going to end up routing this through the rear, like this, under the air. And then that is just going to simply click into place like that. And then we're going to route that over to our catch can. Now over at the catch can, we're going to take this and connect this to the top fitting. There's going to be some discretion about how you want to route your hoses here to keep this as tidy as possible. I'm going to try to lay it like this, I think, to the one on top. We've got some flexibility in how we're going to move that. Because remember, later, every time we do an oil change, we're going to have to be able to get to this and remove this to get to our catch can here to drain it. So I think laying it on top will make it easier for me to undo that little thumb wheel here, pull this out to then do the oil change and to check the catch can. Now, while we're at the catch can, on the other side, you see there's this other hose here that has a check valve in it, arrows pointed away. And now we're going to put that from the side of the catch can right here. And we're going to route that over. I'm going to push that under the assembly there. And go back over. And then now right back over here, under that air manifold, I'm just going to simply then take this fitting. And then I'm going to press it down until I hear a nice positive click like that. And we are in business. Everything is just that simple. So the only tool we really needed was a 13mm deep well socket to install this. Super simple. Just remember, every time you do an oil change, you do have to empty that catch can. Now, I'm probably going to want to be a little extra curious right after I install this here to make sure everything's working good. Obviously, give it a little test start up. Super simple. Don't throw this little clip away here. You may want to save that later if you need to take your truck in for service. Having that, it's just a nice little thing in case there's ever any issue with the catch can. You've got this back in place to be able to restore the factory settings. Now, I will say that UPR does provide some instructions for this on their website that you can print off if you're curious. You can do that. So now we're fast forwarding to about 3,000 miles later. Admittedly, probably about half of that is interstate highway driving. And now we're going to check on the filter here, or the separator. And so to be able to access the canister down below, I'm going to use the little thumb screw right here. And I'm going to unscrew this little quick connect valve here. Remember, there's a washer on top there. I'm going to set that aside, being very careful with my battery here. Throw that over there. And then now I can lift my catch can here out here. And then now this is going to be the real test. Just going to unscrew this and see how much oil this catch can has collected after 3,000 miles. Probably should have a shop towel here while I'm doing this. And remember, everything that this catches is oil that is not going back into the engine where it doesn't belong. All right, so there's nothing dripping off there. And let me get a good view of this for you. All right, so here's how much we have in here after 3,000 miles. There's definitely a little bit caked on at the bottom, but it's still above the little drain plug at the bottom here, that little brass screw that you might be able to see right there. Definitely all dried up and caked in there. No reason for me to really empty this right now. It's not even viscous, it's just a little bit of hard caked in oil there. And so it kept that from going back in the engine. All that would have just turned into buildup on the valves and created other issues for the engine. I also feel like since I put this on, I've been getting just ever so slightly better fuel economy. I don't want to guarantee it, but it just feels like I'm getting about an extra mile per gallon, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, depending upon highway versus city driving. I can't say with any scientific testing on that, but it just feels like the number I see on the dash is about 1 mpg higher, which makes me happy. And seeing that that didn't go in the engine is also a good deal. And so with that, you got any questions or comments about this UPR catch can, put in the comments down below. Love to hear about it. I think the fact that I can help protect my engine, for just a couple extra bucks here of installing this, goes in really quick, makes this a great value, and is certainly going to add life to the engine. So if you want to pick up one of these, I'll put a link down below in the description. Anything else you want to share, add it in the comments. Like videos like this, give it a thumbs up, click the subscribe button down below if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching, and as always, have a great day. Bye.